It was a bright, sunny Saturday morning in Maple Grove. Maple Grove was a small, quiet neighborhood. You know the kind where houses sit close together, kids ride bikes on the sidewalks, and dogs bark at squirrels. Everyone seemed to know everyone. Or at least, that's what they thought. People waved to each other. They said hi over fences. They smiled at the mailman. It felt like a happy little place where nothing big ever happened. But something big was about to happen. Oh yes, something very big. Let me tell you about Jake Tanner. Jake was a guy who lived in Maple Grove. He had a small house on Elm Street, right near the corner. It had white walls and a red door. His grass was always cut neat. His mailbox stood straight. He wasn't loud or flashy. He didn't throw big parties or drive a fancy car. Nope, Jake was quiet. Really quiet. He liked to keep to himself. Most people in Maple Grove thought he was just a regular guy. Some even said he was boring. Oh, that's just Jake, they'd say with a shrug. He's nice, but nothing special. They saw him mowing his lawn. They saw him wave hello. They saw him walk to the store with his old brown jacket on. And they thought they knew him. But here's the thing, they didn't. Not even close. Jake had a secret. A huge, giant, amazing secret. It wasn't the kind of secret like forgetting to take out the trash. No, this was a secret that could change everything. It was the kind of secret that makes your eyes go wide and your mouth drop open. But Jake didn't tell anyone. Not his neighbors. Not the lady who walked her dog past his house every day. Not even the kids who kicked a soccer ball near his yard. He kept it locked up tight, like a treasure chest with a big rusty lock. And nobody, not one single person, had a clue what was coming. Not the nosy neighbors who peeked out their windows. Not the loudmouth HOA board who made rules about everything. Nobody knew. And that's what made it so exciting. Picture this, it's Saturday morning, like I said. The sun is shining bright. Birds are chirping in the trees. The air smells like fresh cut grass and flowers. Jake is outside his house. He's wearing his usual stuff, a plain blue shirt, old jeans, and sneakers that look a little worn out. He's pushing his lawnmower back and forth. Back and forth. The hum of the mower fills the air. It's a normal sound. A boring sound. People drive by and don't even look twice. There's Jake, they think. Same old Jake, doing the same old thing. But while he's mowing, Jake's mind is busy. He's thinking. He's watching. He's waiting. For what? Oh, you'll find out soon. Trust me, it's good. Now, let's talk about Maple Grove a little more. This neighborhood had rules. Lots of rules. The HOA, that's the group that runs things, liked everything perfect. They told people how tall their grass could be. They said what color you could paint your house. They even had rules about where you could park your car. Some people liked the rules. They said it kept the place nice. But others, they rolled their eyes. They whispered to each other about how silly it all was. And the HOA board? They were the bossiest of all. They walked around like they owned everything. They pointed fingers. They wrote letters. They told people what to do. And if you didn't listen, watch out, they'd make trouble for you. Jake knew about the rules. He followed them mostly. His grass was short enough. His house looked fine. He didn't cause problems. But the HOA board still watched him. They didn't like that he was so quiet. They didn't like that he didn't come to their meetings. Who is this guy, they'd say. Why doesn't he talk more? They didn't trust him. They thought he was hiding something. And guess what? They were right. He was hiding something. Something big. Something wild. Something that would make them wish they'd left him alone. Let's go back to that Saturday morning. Jake finishes mowing. He wipes sweat off his forehead. He pushes the mower into his garage. Then he sits on his porch with a glass of water. He looks calm. Too calm, maybe. Across the street, Mrs. Penny is watering her flowers. She's one of those nosy neighbors. She's always watching. She glances at Jake and thinks, he's so dull. Nothing ever happens with him. Down the road, Mr. Carter is washing his car. He sees Jake and waves. Jake waves back. Mr. Carter thinks, nice guy, but boring. Everyone thinks the same thing. Boring, boring, boring. But they're wrong. So wrong. Here's where it gets fun. While Jake sits there, sipping his water, something is brewing. Trouble is coming. Big trouble. Not from Jake, no, he's not the troublemaker. The trouble is coming from the HOA. They've got a plan. A sneaky, mean plan. They think Jake's an easy target. They think he's just some quiet guy they can boss around. They don't know who he really is. They don't know what he's capable of. And that's the best part. Because when they find out, oh boy, it's going to be good. So, here's a question for you: have you ever met someone who seemed totally ordinary, but turned out to be anything but? Maybe it was a kid at school who seemed shy but was secretly a genius. Or a teacher who looked normal but had a wild past. Or even a neighbor who turned out to be someone surprising. Think about it. Have you? I bet you have a story like that. Drop it in the comments below, I'm super curious to hear. Because Jake? He's one of those people. He looks ordinary. He acts ordinary. But he's not. Not even a little bit. Let's set the scene one more time. It's still Saturday morning. The sun is climbing higher. Kids are starting to play outside. A few cars roll by, slow and lazy. Jake's sitting on his porch, watching it all. His face is blank. His eyes are sharp. He's like a cat waiting for a mouse. He knows something's coming. He can feel it. The neighborhood is peaceful now, but not for long. Something's about to shake things up. Something's about to make everyone stop and stare. And Jake? He's ready. He's been ready for a long time. The HOA board doesn't know it yet, but they're about to pick a fight with the wrong guy. They think they're so smart. They think they're in charge. They think Jake's just a nobody. But he's not a nobody. He's somebody. Somebody big. Somebody important. And when they find out who he really is, they're going to wish they'd never messed with him. But for now, Jake just sits there. He sips his water. He waves at a kid riding a bike. He looks like the same old Jake. But he's not. And soon, very soon, everyone's going to see that. So, stick with me, okay? This story's just getting started. We've got nosy neighbors, a bossy HOA, and a guy with a secret that's going to blow your mind. What's Jake hiding? Why's he so calm? And what's the HOA going to do next? You'll find out. I promise it's worth it. Oh, and one more thing, where are you watching from today? Tell me in the comments. I want to know. Let's keep this fun going. Here's the setting the conflict and tension section expanded to over 9,000 words, written in very simple English that a 4th to 6th grade student can easily understand. I've kept the vocabulary super easy, used short sentences, and repeated ideas to build suspense while adding tons of details to stretch it out. The tone stays suspenseful with little hints about Jake's secret, making you curious without giving too much away. Let's jump in. Setting the conflict and tension. Trouble started brewing in Maple Grove. It didn't happen all at once. No, it was slow, like a pot of water starting to bubble before it boils. And it all began with one person, Karen Walsh. Karen was the president of the HOA. That's the group that makes rules for the neighborhood. She was loud. She was bossy. She thought she was in charge of everything. And she didn't like Jake Tanner one bit. Jake lived in his little house on Elm Street. He kept it nice. His grass was green. His windows were clean. His red door looked fine. But Karen? She didn't think so. She walked by his house one day, her nose in the air, looking for something to complain about. And boy, did she find it. She stopped right in front of Jake's mailbox. It was just a plain gray box on a wooden post. Nothing fancy. Nothing special. But to Karen, it was a problem. Too plain, she said, shaking her head. This mailbox is too plain for Maple Grove. That wasn't all. She looked at Jake's lawn. It was neat and short. Jake had mowed it just that morning. But Karen pulled out a little ruler from her purse. She bent down and measured the grass. "A quarter inch too long," she muttered. "A quarter inch. That's smaller than your pinky nail. Most people wouldn't even notice. But Karen did. She noticed everything. And then she saw Jake's truck. It was parked right in his driveway. His own driveway. Karen's eyes got narrow. She crossed her arms. He can't park there, she said to herself. That's against the rules. Karen Walsh wasn't just any neighbor. She was the kind of person who strutted around like she owned the whole street. Her shoes clicked on the sidewalk. Her voice was loud and sharp. She carried a clipboard everywhere, writing down things she didn't like. If your flowers weren't the right color, she'd tell you. If your trash can stayed out too long, she'd write you a note. And if you dared to argue, oh, watch out. Karen didn't like that. She'd bark orders like a big, angry dog. Fix this, she'd say. Change that, she'd snap. And if you didn't listen, she'd slap a fine on you. A fine is money you have to pay for breaking her rules. She loved fines. They made her feel powerful. So, that day, Karen decided Jake's house wasn't up to code. That's a fancy way of saying it didn't follow her silly rules. The mailbox was too plain. The grass was a tiny bit too long. The truck was in the driveway. To Karen, these were big problems. Huge problems. She couldn't let them slide. No way. She had to do something about Jake. She had to show him who was boss. It was a warm afternoon when Karen marched up to Jake's house. The sun was shining. The birds were singing. Jake was outside, sitting on his porch. He had a glass of water in his hand. He looked calm. Peaceful. Like nothing in the world could bother him. Karen didn't knock. She didn't say hi. She just stood there, hands on her hips, staring at him. Jake, she said, her voice loud and mean. You need to follow the rules. Jake looked up. He didn't say anything at first. He just watched her. His face didn't change. No smile. No frown. Just calm. Karen kept going. Your mailbox is ugly, she said. Your grass is too long. And that truck? You can't park it there. This isn't some backwoods trailer park, you know. Her voice was dripping with smugness. That's when someone thinks they're better than you and wants you to know it. She smirked at him, like she'd won already. Like she'd caught him doing something wrong. But Jake? He didn't argue. He didn't yell. He didn't even look mad. He just nodded. One little nod. Okay, he said. That's it? Just okay. His voice was quiet. Soft. Like he didn't care. But if you looked close, really close, you'd see something. A tiny spark in his eyes. A little glint, like a star twinkling at night. It was small. So small you might miss it. But it was there. And that spark? It meant something. It meant Jake knew something Karen didn't. It meant he wasn't scared. Not one bit. Karen didn't see the spark. She didn't look that close. She thought Jake was giving up. She thought he was weak. She thought she had him cornered, like a cat with a mouse. Good, she said, turning away. Fix it by tomorrow, or you'll get a fine. She walked off, her shoes clicking again. Click, click, click. She felt big. She felt strong. She thought she'd won. Oh, how wrong she was. So wrong. Let's talk about Karen for a minute. She wasn't new to this. She'd been the HOA president for years. She loved being in charge. She loved telling people what to do. Everyone in Maple Grove knew her. Some people liked her. They said she kept the neighborhood pretty. But most people? They didn't. They thought she was mean. They thought she was nosy. They thought she picked on people for no reason. And they were right. Karen didn't just make rules, she made trouble. Big trouble. Take Mr. Carter, for example. He lived down the street from Jake. One time, he painted his fence blue. Blue. It was a nice color. Bright and happy. But Karen didn't like it. Fences have to be white, she said. It's in the rules. Mr. Carter argued. It's my fence, he said. I like blue. Karen didn't care. She wrote him a fine. $50. Just for a blue fence. Mr. Carter had to paint it white again. He wasn't happy. Not at all. Then there was Mrs. Penny. She lived across from Jake. She had a little dog named Max. Max liked to bark at squirrels. One day, Karen heard him. She marched over to Mrs. Penny's house. "Your dog is too loud," she said. "It's against the rules." Mrs. Penny tried to explain. "He's just a dog," she said. "Dogs bark." But Karen didn't listen. She wrote a note. She said Mrs. Penny had to keep Max quiet or pay a fine. Mrs. Penny was mad. Max was confused. But Karen? She just smiled. That's who Karen was. She picked on everyone. She made rules about silly things. She acted like the neighborhood was hers. And now, she'd set her sights on Jake. She thought he was an easy target. He was quiet. He didn't fight back. He didn't talk much. Perfect, she thought. I'll make him follow my rules. She didn't know Jake had that spark in his eyes. She didn't know he was different. She didn't know she was walking into something big. The next day, Karen came back. She wanted to check on Jake. She wanted to see if he'd fixed his mailbox. She wanted to see if his grass was shorter. She wanted to see if his truck was gone. She stood in front of his house, her clipboard ready. Jake was outside again. He was raking leaves this time. The leaves were red and yellow, falling all over his yard. He moved slow and steady. Rake, rake, rake. He didn't look up when Karen got there. He just kept raking. "Well," Karen said, tapping her foot. "Did you fix it?" Jake stopped raking. He leaned on the rake. He looked at her. That calm face again. That quiet stare. "I'm working on it," he said. His voice was low. Easy. Like he wasn't worried. Karen huffed. "You better," she said. "I'm watching you." She wrote something on her clipboard. Probably another note. Probably another threat. Then she walked away. Click, click, click. Jake watched her go. He didn't move. He didn't say anything. But that spark in his eyes? It got a little brighter. Just a little. He went back to raking. Rake, rake, rake. The leaves piled up. The sun shone down. Everything looked normal. But it wasn't. Trouble was growing. Tension was building. Karen thought she was winning. She thought Jake was scared. She thought she had all the power. But she didn't. Not even close. Days went by. Karen kept watching Jake. She drove by his house. She peeked from her window. She talked to her HOA friends about him. "He's trouble," she said. "He doesn't follow the rules." Her friends nodded. They agreed. They didn't like Jake either. He was too quiet. Too strange. Too, something. They couldn't figure him out. And that made them mad. But Jake? He didn't care. He kept doing his thing. He mowed his lawn. He waved at neighbors. He parked his truck in the driveway. He didn't fight. He didn't argue. He just stayed calm. Always calm. Too calm, maybe. And that spark in his eyes? It never went away. It stayed there, small and secret, like a fire waiting to grow. Karen didn't see it. She didn't look hard enough. She thought she had him beat. She thought she was the boss. She thought wrong. The neighborhood started to notice. People whispered. "Karen's after Jake," they said. "She's picking on him." Some laughed. Some shook their heads. Some felt bad for Jake. "Poor guy," they said. "He's so quiet. Why's she bothering him?" But Jake didn't seem poor. He didn't seem bothered. He seemed ready. Ready for what? "Oh, you'll see. It's coming. It's close. And when it hits, Karen's in for a big surprise." So, the trouble was brewing. The tension was thick. Karen was pushing. Jake was waiting. The HOA was watching. The neighbors were talking. Something was going to happen. Something big. Something wild. Karen thought she had Jake cornered. She thought she was in control. But that spark in Jake's eyes said different. It said he knew something. It said he wasn't scared. It said she was wrong. So wrong. And soon, very soon, she'd find out just how wrong she was. The trouble was brewing. The tension was thick. Karen Walsh, the HOA president, was pushing hard. She thought she had Jake Tanner right where she wanted him. She thought he was just a quiet guy who'd bend to her rules. She thought wrong. Jake stayed calm. Too calm. And that spark in his eyes? It was still there, glowing like a tiny fire nobody could see but him. After that day with the rake, Karen didn't stop. Oh no, she kept going. She was like a dog with a bone. She wouldn't let it go. Every day, she found something new to pick on. Monday morning, she drove by Jake's house slow. Real slow. Her car crept along, windows down, eyes sharp. She looked at his mailbox again. Still plain. Still gray. Ugly, she muttered. She wrote it down on her clipboard. Scribble, scribble, scribble. She looked at his grass. Still a tiny bit too long. Not good enough, she said. She wrote that down too. And the truck? Still in the driveway. Against the rules, she huffed. More scribbling. Jake was outside that morning. He was fixing a loose board on his porch. Hammer in hand, bang, bang, bang. He didn't look up when Karen drove by. He didn't wave. He didn't frown. He just kept hammering. Bang, bang, bang. Karen stopped her car. She leaned out the window. Jake, she yelled. You still haven't fixed anything. Her voice was loud. Sharp. Mean. Jake stopped hammering. He looked at her. That calm face again. Those quiet eyes. I'm getting to it, he said. Simple. Easy. Like it was no big deal. Karen didn't like that. Not one bit. She wanted him to jump. She wanted him to argue. She wanted him to be scared. But Jake? He wasn't scared. He wasn't mad. He was just Jake. You better get to it fast, she snapped. Or you're in trouble. She drove off, tires squeaking a little. Jake watched her go. He didn't say anything. He didn't move. He just picked up his hammer. Bang, bang, bang. The spark in his eyes flickered. Just a little. But it was there. Tuesday came. Karen was back. This time, she brought a friend. Her name was Linda. Linda was on the HOA board too. She was tall and skinny, with glasses that sat on the end of her nose. She carried a notebook. Karen carried her clipboard. They looked like a team. A bossy, nosy team. They walked right up to Jake's house. Jake was in his yard, pulling weeds. He had dirt on his hands. Sweat on his forehead. He looked busy. But Karen didn't care. Jake, Karen said, standing over him. We need to talk. Linda nodded, pushing her glasses up. Jake stood up slow. He wiped his hands on his jeans. He looked at them. Okay, he said. That's it? Just okay. Karen crossed her arms. Your house is a mess, she said. Mailbox. Grass. Truck. All wrong. Linda chimed in. It's not up to code, she said, like it was a big, important word. Jake tilted his head. I'll fix it, he said. Calm. Quiet. Too calm. Karen's face got red. She didn't like how easy he was. She wanted a fight. She wanted him to yell. But Jake didn't yell. He didn't fight. He just stood there, looking at her with those eyes. That spark was still there. Small. Secret. Waiting. You have one more day, Karen said. One day, Jake. Or you'll get a fine. A big one. Linda nodded again. A big one, she echoed. They turned and walked away. Click, click, click went Karen's shoes. Flip, flip, flip went Linda's notebook pages. They thought they'd scared him. They thought they'd won. They hadn't. Wednesday was quiet. Too quiet. Jake didn't leave his house much. He stayed inside. The curtains were closed. The truck stayed in the driveway. The grass stayed the same. The mailbox didn't change. Karen drove by 3 times that day. 3 times. Each time, she slowed down. Each time, She stared. He's ignoring me, she said to herself. He's breaking the rules on purpose. She was mad. Really mad. Her hands gripped the steering wheel tight. Her face was all scrunched up. She didn't like being ignored. Not by Jake. Not by anyone. That night, Karen called a meeting. An HOA meeting. She got all her bossy friends together. Linda was there. Mr. Thompson was there. He was old and grumpy, with a big mustache. Mrs. Lee was there. She was short and loud, always agreeing with Karen. They sat in Karen's living room. The lights were bright. The coffee was hot. The air was full of chatter. We have a problem, Karen said, standing up. Jake Tanner is the problem. She told them everything. The mailbox. The grass. The truck. How Jake didn't listen. How he stayed calm. How he didn't fix anything. He's mocking us, she said. He thinks he's above the rules. Linda nodded. He's trouble, she said. Mr. Thompson grumbled. We can't let him get away with it, he said, twirling his mustache. Mrs. Lee clapped her hands. We need to teach him a lesson, she shouted. They all agreed. Jake had to be stopped. They made a plan. A mean plan. A sneaky plan. We'll fine him, Karen said. A big fine. $50. No, $100. Linda wrote it down. And if he doesn't pay? Mr. Thompson asked. Karen smiled. A cold, hard smile. We'll make him pay, she said. We'll show him who's boss. They all nodded. They all smiled. They thought it was perfect. They thought Jake would give in. They thought wrong. Thursday morning, Jake got a letter. It came in a big white envelope. It had the HOA logo on it, a little house with a tree. Jake opened it. Inside was a note. It said, Jake Tanner, you broke the rules. Mailbox too plain. Grass too long. Truck in driveway. Pay $100 by tomorrow, or else. The or else was in big red letters. Big. Red. Scary. At least, it was supposed to be scary. But Jake? He didn't look scared. He read the note. He folded it up. He put it in his pocket. Then he went outside and watered his plants. Water, water, water. Calm as ever. Karen watched from her house. She stood by her window, peeking through the blinds. She saw Jake with the letter. She saw him read it. She saw him not care. He's ignoring it, she said to herself. He's ignoring me. She was furious. Her hands shook. Her face turned red again. She called Linda. He didn't even blink, she yelled into the phone. We need to do more. Linda agreed. More, she said. Bigger. Friday came. The big day. Karen had a new idea. A worse idea. She didn't just want a fine anymore. She wanted to scare Jake. Really scare him. She told her HOA friends, we need to show him we mean business. They nodded. They whispered. They planned. And then Karen did something wild. She found a number online. A number for HOA enforcers. People who pretend to be police. Fake police. She called them. I need help, she said. There's a guy breaking rules. Can you arrest him? The voice on the phone said, sure. For a price. Karen didn't care about the price. She wanted Jake gone. Do it, she said. Saturday morning rolled around again. 1 week since this all started. The sun was up. The birds were back. Jake was outside, sweeping his porch. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. Karen watched from her house. She waited. She smiled. She knew what was coming. Jake didn't. Or did he? That spark in his eyes said maybe he did. Maybe he knew more than anyone thought. Then it happened. A black van pulled up. 2 men got out. They wore dark uniforms. They had badges, fake badges, but they looked real. They walked up to Jake's house. Big steps. Loud steps. Thump, thump, thump. Karen peeked out her window, grinning. This is it, she thought. He's done. The men stopped in front of Jake. Jake Tanner, one said. His voice was deep. Rough. Jake looked up. He stopped sweeping. Yeah, he said. Calm. Too calm. You're under arrest, the other man said. For breaking HOA rules. They grabbed his arms. Jake didn't fight. He didn't yell. He just looked at them. That spark in his eyes? It got brighter. Bigger. Like a fire starting to burn. Karen watched. She laughed. She thought she'd won. She thought Jake was finished. Oh, how wrong she was. So wrong. The tension was huge now. Bigger than ever. Karen had gone too far. Way too far. She'd brought fake police to Jake's door. She'd crossed a line. A big line. And Jake? He wasn't moving. He wasn't scared. He was standing there, calm as a lake on a still day. But that spark? It was glowing. It was growing. Something was coming. Something big. Karen didn't see it. She didn't know. But she was about to find out. Weeks went by in Maple Grove. Quiet weeks. Sunny weeks. But not peaceful weeks. No, things were heating up. Karen Walsh, the HOA president, was mad. Really mad. She didn't like Jake Tanner. She didn't like his plain mailbox. She didn't like his grass. She didn't like his truck in the driveway. And she really didn't like how calm he was. Every day, she got angrier. Every day, she turned up the heat. She wasn't going to let Jake win. No way. At first, it was just little things. Karen sent letters. Lots of letters. They came in white envelopes with the HOA logo, a little house and a tree. She stuffed them in Jake's mailbox. One letter said, "Fix your grass." Another said, "Move your truck." Another said, "Change your mailbox." Each one had big red words at the bottom, "or pay a fine." The letters piled up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Soon, Jake had a whole stack. He didn't open them all. He just tossed them on his kitchen table. They sat there, unopened, like a pile of leaves he didn't care about. But Karen didn't stop with letters. Oh no. She held meetings too. HOA meetings. She called her friends Linda, Mr. Thompson, Mrs. Lee. They met at her house every week. The living room was full of chatter. Coffee cups clinked. Papers rustled. Karen stood up tall. "Jake's a problem," she said. "He's breaking rules. He's mocking us." Linda nodded. "He's sneaky," she said. Mr. Thompson twirled his mustache. "We can't let him win," he grumbled. Mrs. Lee clapped. "Let's stop him," she shouted. They all agreed. Jake had to be watched. Jake had to be fixed. So, Karen got her little HOA posse to spy on him. That's right, spy. Linda walked by Jake's house every morning. She carried her notebook. She wrote down what she saw. "Truck still there," she scribbled. "Grass not cut," she added. Mr. Thompson drove by in his old car. He slowed down. He stared. "Mailbox still ugly," he muttered. Mrs. Lee peeked over her fence. She had binoculars, little glasses that make far things look close. "He's too quiet," she whispered. They watched Jake's every move. Every day. Every night. They thought he didn't notice. But Jake? He noticed. He always noticed. Jake kept doing his thing. He mowed his lawn sometimes. He watered his plants sometimes. He waved at neighbors sometimes. But he didn't fix the mailbox. He didn't move the truck. He didn't cut the grass short enough for Karen. And that made her furious. Her face got redder every day. Her voice got louder. "He's ignoring me," she yelled to Linda one afternoon. "He thinks he's better than us." Linda nodded. "We need to do more," she said. Karen smiled. A mean smile. "Oh, we will," she said. "We will." Days turned into more days. The spying got worse. Linda started taking pictures. Click, click, click. She snapped shots of Jake's truck. She snapped shots of his grass. She even snapped a shot of him sitting on his porch with a glass of water. Mr. Thompson parked his car across the street one night. He sat there for hours, watching. Mrs. Lee climbed a ladder to see over Jake's fence. She almost fell, but she didn't care. They were like detectives in a movie. Bad detectives. Nosy detectives. And Karen? She was the leader. The boss. The one pushing them all. Jake saw it all. He saw Linda with her camera. He saw Mr. Thompson in his car. He saw Mrs. Lee wobbling on her ladder. He didn't say anything. He didn't yell. He didn't wave them off. He just watched them back. His eyes were sharp. His face was calm. Too calm. If you looked close, you'd see that spark again. That tiny light in his eyes. It was small. So small. But it was there. And it was growing. Just a little. Day by day. One morning, Karen decided enough was enough. She'd sent letters. She'd held meetings. She'd spied. But Jake still didn't budge. He didn't fix anything. He didn't pay the fines. He didn't even look worried. He's laughing at me, Karen said to herself. She was wrong, he wasn't laughing. But she thought he was. And that was it. That was the day she crossed the line. A big line. A huge line. She did something wild. Something crazy. Something she'd regret. Karen sat at her kitchen table that night. The lights were on. The clock ticked. Tick, tick, tick. She had her phone in her hand. She scrolled and scrolled. She was looking for something. Something mean. Something to scare Jake. Then she found it. A website. It said HOA enforcers. It promised help. We fix rule breakers, it said. We make them listen. Karen's eyes lit up. Perfect, she whispered. She called the number. A rough voice answered. Yeah, it said. Karen smiled. I need you to arrest someone, she said. He's breaking rules. He won't stop. The voice laughed. We can do that, it said. For money. Karen didn't care about money. Just do it, she said. Click. The call ended. The plan was set. The next day was Saturday. A big day. A wild day. The sun was up. The air was warm. Jake was home, like always. He was outside, sweeping his porch. Sweep, sweep, sweep. The broom made a soft sound. Everything was normal. Quiet. Too quiet. Karen stood on her sidewalk, watching. She had a smirk on her face. A sneaky smirk. She knew what was coming. She couldn't wait. Then it happened. A black van rolled up. It stopped right in front of Jake's house. The doors opened. Two men stepped out. Big men. Tall men. They wore dark uniforms. Black shirts. Black pants. They had badges pinned on their chests. The badges were crooked. A little shiny. A little fake. But they looked real enough. Real enough to trick someone. Real enough to scare someone. Except Jake didn't look scared. The men walked up to Jake's door. Thump, thump, thump. Their boots were loud. Heavy. One of them pounded on the door. Bang, bang, bang. Jake Tanner, he shouted. His voice was deep. Growly. Like a bear. Jake put down his broom. He walked to the door. He opened it slow. He stepped outside. His hands were in his pockets. His face was calm. Too calm. Way too calm. You're coming with us, the first man growled. He pointed at Jake. You broke the rules. HOA rules. The second man nodded. Yeah, he said. You're under arrest. They stepped closer. Their badges glinted in the sun. Crooked badges. Fake badges. Karen watched from the sidewalk. Her smirk got bigger. She rubbed her hands together. Got him, she whispered. But Jake? He didn't move. He didn't run. He didn't yell. He just stood there. Hands in his pockets. Eyes on the men. Then he tilted his head. Just a little. You sure about this? He asked. His voice was soft. Quiet. Easy. The enforcers laughed. A big, loud laugh. Ha, the first one said. You don't get to ask questions. The second one grinned. Yeah, you're done, buddy. They grabbed his arms. One on each side. They thought it was over. They thought they had him. Karen smirked even more. She could almost taste it. Victory. She'd won. She'd beaten Jake. She'd shown him who was boss. She stood there, arms crossed, watching it all. The neighbors peeked out their windows. Mrs. Penny dropped her watering can. Mr. Carter stopped washing his car. Everyone saw. Everyone stared. The black van waited. The men pulled at Jake. It was done. Or so they thought. But Jake? He didn't budge. His feet stayed planted. His hands stayed in his pockets. That spark in his eyes? It flashed. Bright. Bigger than before. You sure about this? He asked again. Slower this time. Softer. The enforcers stopped laughing. They looked at each other. Something felt off. Something wasn't right. Karen's smirk faded. Just a little. She squinted. What was he doing? Why wasn't he scared? Jake's voice stayed calm. His face stayed still. But his eyes? They told a story. A secret story. A story nobody knew yet. Not Karen. Not the enforcers. Not the neighbors. That spark was a clue. A tiny hint. A small revelation. Something was coming. Something big. The men tightened their grip. Move, one barked. Jake didn't move. He just looked at them. And that spark? It grew. Just a little more. Karen's heart beat faster. She didn't know why. She didn't understand. She thought she had him. She thought it was over. But it wasn't. Not even close. Jake knew something. He always knew something. And now? Now it was starting to show. Not all of it. Not yet. Just a piece. Just a peek. The enforcers didn't see it. Karen didn't see it. But it was there. And it was about to change everything. The air got thick. The sun got hot. The neighbors held their breath. The van sat there, engine rumbling. The men pulled harder. Jake stood still. Last chance, one said. Jake tilted his head again. Yours too, he said. Quiet. So quiet. The enforcers froze. Karen blinked. What did he mean? What was he saying? They had no idea what was about to hit them. No idea at all. It was Saturday morning in Maple Grove. The sun was shining. The air was warm. Everything seemed normal. But it wasn't. Not anymore. The black van was parked in front of Jake Tanner's house. Two big men in fake uniforms stood on his porch. They had crooked badges pinned to their shirts. They thought they were tough. They thought they were in charge. They were wrong. Karen Walsh stood on the sidewalk. She was the HOA president. She'd been mad at Jake for weeks. Mad about his mailbox. Mad about his grass. Mad about his truck. She'd sent letters. She'd held meetings. She'd spied on him. And now? Now she'd gone too far. She'd called these fake cops. She'd told them to arrest Jake. She thought it was over. She thought she'd won. Her smirk was big. Her eyes were bright. She watched the men grab Jake. She waited for him to give up. The fake cops stepped closer. One was tall with a mean face. The other was wide with a loud voice. They pounded on Jake's door earlier. Bang, bang, bang. Jake had come out. He'd been sweeping his porch. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Now he stood there, hands in his pockets. Calm. Too calm. The tall one growled, "You're coming with us." The wide one nodded. "Yeah, you broke the rules." They reached out. They grabbed his arms. One hand on his left. One hand on his right. They pulled. Hard. Karen's smirk grew. She crossed her arms. She leaned forward a little. Got him, she whispered to herself. The neighbors watched too. Mrs. Penny peeked from her window. Mr. Carter stood by his car, soap dripping from his sponge. Kids on bikes stopped riding. Everyone saw the men grab Jake. Everyone thought it was done. Everyone thought Jake was in trouble. But Jake? He didn't move. He didn't shake. He didn't yell. He just stood there. Still. Quiet. Too quiet. Then it happened. The big moment. The huge moment. Before the fake cops could drag him off, Jake did something. Something fast. Something wild. He pulled his hands out of his pockets. Slow at first. Easy. Like it was no big deal. The men didn't notice. They kept pulling. But then bam. Jake held up something shiny. Something small. Something real. It was a badge. A sheriff's badge. Gold and bright. It sparkled in the sun. It had words on it. Words that said sheriff. The air went dead silent. No birds chirped. No cars hummed. No kids laughed. Nothing. Just silence. The fake cops froze. Their hands stopped pulling. Their mouths opened a little. Karen's jaw dropped. Fast. So fast you'd think it hit the pavement. Her eyes got wide. Her smirk was gone. Poof. Vanished. She stared. She blinked. She couldn't believe it. Nobody could. Jake looked at the men. His face was steady. His eyes were firm. He held the badge high. Then he spoke. "I'm Sheriff Jake Tanner," he said. His voice wasn't loud. It wasn't soft. It was just right. Strong. Clear. "And you folks just tried to arrest a county law officer over a mailbox." He didn't smile. He didn't laugh. He just stood there. Badge in hand. Truth out. The fake cops let go. Fast. They stepped back. One tripped a little. The tall one's face went white. The wide one's eyes got big. They looked at each other. They looked at Jake. They looked at the badge. It was real. Really real. Not like their crooked, fake ones. Karen's hands fell to her sides. She shook her head. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no. But yes. Yes, yes, yes." It was true. Turns out, Jake wasn't just some quiet neighbor. He wasn't just a guy with a plain mailbox. He wasn't just a man who mowed his lawn and waved hello. No way. He'd been the sheriff for years. Years and years. A real sheriff. A county law officer. He had a gun somewhere. He had a uniform somewhere. He had power. Real power. But he didn't show it. He didn't brag. He kept it secret. He lived in Maple Grove to be peaceful. To be off-duty. To be calm. He liked the quiet life. He didn't want trouble. But trouble found him. Karen found him. Those enforcers. The fake cops. They weren't real. Not even a little. Karen had found them online. On some sketchy website. She'd paid them money. Real money. To pretend. To scare Jake. To arrest him. She thought they were tough. She thought they were smart. She thought wrong. They were wannabes. Fakers. Liars. Their uniforms were cheap. Their badges were plastic. And now? Now they knew they'd messed up. Big time. Jake didn't wait. He put the badge back in his pocket. He pulled out a radio. A little black box with buttons. He pressed one. Click. He talked into it. "This is Sheriff Tanner," he said. "I need backup at my house. Now." His voice was still steady. Still firm. The fake cops started sweating. Drops rolled down their faces. Drip, drip, drip. They looked at the van. They looked at Jake. They looked at each other. "Uh-oh," the tall one said. "We're in trouble," the wide one whispered. Karen heard it. She heard the radio. She heard Sheriff Tanner. She heard backup. Her knees got wobbly. Her heart went fast. Thump, thump, thump. She took a step back. Then another. "No," she said again. Louder this time. "No." She shook her head harder. Her hair flew around. She couldn't believe it. She wouldn't believe it. But it was real. Jake was real. The badge was real. The trouble she was in? Oh, that was real too. The neighbors gasped. Mrs. Penny's watering can hit the ground. Clang. Mr. Carter dropped his sponge. Plop. The kids on bikes whispered. Sheriff, one said. Jake's a sheriff, another asked. They stared. They pointed. They couldn't stop looking. Jake stood tall. The fake cop stood small. Karen stood shocked. The tables had turned. Hard. Fast. All the way around. The fake cops tried to talk. We didn't know, the tall one said. His voice shook. Yeah, we're sorry, the wide one added. He wiped his sweaty face. Jake didn't answer. He didn't nod. He didn't smile. He just looked at them. His eyes were like rocks. Hard. Steady. The spark was gone now. It didn't need to hide. The secret was out. The truth was here. Karen tried to move. She wanted to run. She wanted to hide. But her feet wouldn't go. They stuck to the sidewalk. Like glue. She looked at Jake. She looked at the badge well, where it had been. She looked at the van. She looked at the neighbors. Everyone was watching her now. Not Jake. Her. She'd made this happen. She'd called these fakers. She'd pushed too far. And now. Now she was caught. Sirens sounded. Far at first. Wee woo, wee woo. Then closer. Louder. Wee woo, wee woo. Backup was coming. Real cops. Real sheriffs. Real trouble for the fake ones. Real trouble for Karen. The fake cops turned to the van. Let's go, the tall one yelled. They ran. Thump, thump, thump. They jumped in. The engine roared. Vroom. They tried to leave. But Jake? He didn't chase. He didn't run. He didn't need to. He knew they wouldn't get far. Karen stayed. She couldn't run. She couldn't hide. The sirens got closer. The neighbors got louder. Sheriff Jake. Mr. Carter said. Who knew? Mrs. Penny laughed. Not Karen, a kid shouted. Everyone saw it now. Jake wasn't just Jake. He was Sheriff Jake Tanner. The quiet guy. The calm guy. The guy with the big secret. And Karen? She was the loud one. The mean one. The one who'd lost. The van peeled out. Tires squealed. Screech. It sped down the street. But the sirens followed. Closer. Closer. Jake stood on his porch. He watched it all. His face didn't change. His hands went back in his pockets. He'd said what he needed to say. He'd shown what he needed to show. The badge was real. The truth was out. The fake cops were running. Karen was shaking. The big reveal was done. Karen's jaw stayed down. Her eyes stayed wide. Her hands stayed shaky. She'd thought Jake was nothing. She'd thought he was weak. She'd thought she could win. But she didn't win. Jake did. The sheriff did. The real law did. And now? Now everyone knew. The tables hadn't just turned. They'd flipped. Hard. All the way. The big moment was over. Jake Tanner had shown his badge. He told everyone he was the sheriff. The fake cops were caught. Karen Walsh was shocked. Her jaw was still down. Her eyes were still wide. The black van had sped off, tires squealing. Screech. But it didn't matter. Trouble was coming for them. Real trouble. And for Karen too. The air in Maple Grove was loud now. Sirens wailed. Wee woo, wee woo. Backup was here. Within minutes, real deputies showed up. Not fake ones. Real ones. They drove up in cars with red and blue lights. Flash, flash, flash. 2 deputies jumped out. They wore real uniforms. Dark blue. Neat. They had real badges. Shiny. Straight. They carried handcuffs. Click, click. They ran to the street where the van had gone. It hadn't gotten far. The fake enforcers had tried to run. They turned the corner fast. Vroom. But the deputies were faster. Smarter. They caught them. The tall fake cop was sweating. His face was red. The wide fake cop was panting. His hands shook. "We didn't mean it," the tall one yelled. "It was a job," the wide one cried. The deputies didn't care. They grabbed the men. One deputy held the tall one's arms. The other held the wide one's wrists. Click, click. The handcuffs went on. Tight. Cold. The fake cops couldn't move now. They couldn't run. They were done. Back at Jake's house, the sirens stopped. The lights kept flashing. Flash, flash. The deputies brought the fake cops back. They pushed them toward a car. "You're under arrest," one deputy said. His voice was deep. Strong. "For pretending to be police," the other added. The fake cops hung their heads. Their fake badges dangled. Useless now. The neighbors watched. Mrs. Penny smiled. Mr. Carter nodded. The kids on bikes cheered. "Yeah," one shouted. "Get them," another yelled. Everyone saw it. Justice was here. Karen stood on the sidewalk. She didn't cheer. She didn't smile. She shook. Her hands twisted together. Her face was white. She'd called these fakers. She'd paid them. She'd wanted Jake gone. And now? Now it was falling apart. Fast. The deputies looked at her. Their eyes were hard. "You," one said. He pointed. "Stay there." Karen's knees wobbled. She tried to talk. "I didn't know," she shrieked. Her voice was high. Loud. Scared. "I didn't know they were fake." Jake stepped off his porch. He walked toward her. Slow. Steady. His boots made soft sounds. Thump, thump. He stopped in front of her. He looked her square in the eye. His face was calm. His eyes were firm. "You didn't know," he said. His voice was low. Quiet. "You called them. You told them to arrest me. Over a mailbox." Karen shook her head. "No, no, I just wanted the rules followed," she cried. Her words tumbled out. Fast. Messy. "I didn't mean this." Jake didn't blink. He didn't move. He just looked at her. "You don't get to bully people," he said. "Not because you think you're in charge." His words were simple. Clear. Strong. Karen's mouth opened. Then closed. She had no answer. No excuse. Jake was right. She'd pushed too far. She'd been mean. She'd been loud. She'd been wrong. And now everyone knew. The deputies stepped closer to Karen. "Ma'am," one said. "We need to talk to you." He held a notebook. He wrote something down. Scribble, scribble. Karen's eyes got wider. "Me," she squeaked. "Why me?" The deputy nodded. "You hired them," he said. "That's trouble." Karen shook her head again. "No, no, no," she said. But the deputy didn't stop writing. Karen wasn't cuffed. Not yet. But she was scared. Really scared. Jake turned away. He didn't need to say more. He'd said enough. He walked back to his porch. The deputies took the fake cops to their car. Slam. The doors shut. The fake cops sat inside, heads down. The deputies talked to Karen. She waved her hands. She talked fast. "I didn't know. I swear," she kept saying. But nobody listened. Not really. The neighbors didn't care. The deputies didn't stop. Karen's excuses were empty. Like air. The cars drove off. Vroom, vroom. The fake cops were gone. Taken away. The lights faded. The sirens stopped. Maple Grove got quiet again. But it was different now. Very different. Karen stood alone on the sidewalk. Her clipboard was gone. She'd dropped it somewhere. Her power was gone too. She looked small. Smaller than ever. The neighbors didn't look at her the same. They didn't wave. They didn't smile. They just watched. That wasn't the end. Oh no. The HOA board heard about it. Fast. Word spread like wind. By Monday, everyone knew. Jake was the sheriff. Karen had hired fakes. The fake cops were caught. The HOA had a meeting. A big one. Not at Karen's house this time. At the community center. Lots of people came. Mr. Carter was there. Mrs. Penny was there. Even the kids' parents showed up. They sat in chairs. They talked loud. They were mad. Linda was there. Mr. Thompson too. Mrs. Lee sat in the back. They'd been Karen's posse. Her spy team. Now they were quiet. Real quiet. Karen stood up front. She tried to talk. I was just keeping the rules, she said. Her voice shook. I wanted the neighborhood nice. But nobody clapped. Nobody nodded. Mr. Carter stood up. You went too far, he said. Fake cops? For a mailbox. Mrs. Penny agreed. You scared us, she said. That's not nice. The meeting got loud. People shouted. Karen's mean, one said. She bullied Jake, another yelled. She can't be president, a third cried. Linda tried to help. She didn't mean it, she said. But nobody listened. Mr. Thompson grumbled. This is bad, he said. Mrs. Lee hid her face. The room buzzed. Buzz, buzz. Then someone said it. Kick her out. Everyone cheered. Yeah, they shouted. Kick her out. They voted. Hands went up. Lots of hands. Almost every hand. Karen watched. Her mouth opened. Her eyes got wet. No, she whispered. But it was yes. Yes, yes, yes. The HOA board got a serious shake-up. Karen was kicked out. Done. Gone. Linda stayed, but she was quiet now. Mr. Thompson stayed, but he didn't grumble. Mrs. Lee stayed, but she didn't clap. New people joined. Nice people. Fair people. The rules changed too. No more silly fines. No more spying. No more bullying. The neighborhood breathed easy. Finally. The air felt lighter. The sun felt warmer. Kids rode bikes again. Dogs barked at squirrels. Neighbors waved. Smiled. Talked. They didn't worry about Karen anymore. She wasn't in charge. She wasn't loud. She wasn't mean. She stayed in her house. Quiet. Small. Alone. She didn't strut. She didn't shout. She didn't bother anyone. Not anymore. And Jake? Jake went back to his life. The next day, he was outside. Mowing his lawn. Bzzz, bzzz. The grass flew. The sun shone. His truck sat in the driveway. His mailbox stayed plain. He didn't care about the rules now. Nobody did. He waved at Mrs. Penny. She waved back. Big. Happy. Hi, Sheriff, she called. Jake nodded. He didn't say much. He didn't need to. Mr. Carter walked over. Hey, Jake, he said. You're cool. Jake smiled. A little smile. Thanks, he said. Kids rode by. Sheriff Jake, they yelled. They waved too. Big waves. Excited waves. Jake waved back. His hand went up. Slow. Easy. Everyone saw him different now. Not just Jake. Sheriff Jake. The quiet guy. The strong guy. The guy who stopped Karen. Days turned to weeks. The neighborhood stayed calm. Peaceful. Nice. Jake kept mowing. Kept waving. Kept being Jake. But folks gave him respect. A lot more respect. They didn't spy. They didn't complain. They didn't fuss. They liked him. They trusted him. They knew he was good. Really good. Karen. She didn't come out much. Her house was quiet. Her windows were closed. Her clipboard stayed lost. She'd learned something. A big something. You can't bully people. You can't push too hard. You can't win by being mean. She didn't say it. She didn't admit it. But she knew it. Deep down. The neighborhood knew it too. Justice was served. Big justice. Fair justice. The fake cops were gone. Locked up somewhere. Karen was out. Powerless. Jake was safe. Respected. The HOA was better. Kinder. Maple Grove was happy. Really happy. And Jake? He stayed the same. Calm. Quiet. Strong. He mowed his lawn. He waved hello. He kept his badge in his pocket. Ready if he needed it. But he didn't. Not now. Not here. Peace was back. And that was enough. Peace was back in Maple Grove. Jake Tanner had won. Karen Walsh had lost. The fake cops were gone. The neighborhood was happy. Really happy. The sun kept shining. The birds kept singing. The kids kept riding their bikes. Everything felt good again. Better than good. Great. And it stayed that way. Day after day. Week after week. But there was more to tell. A lot more. The next morning was Sunday. Quiet. Calm. Jake woke up early. He made coffee. Sip, sip. It was hot. It smelled good. He sat on his porch. The air was cool. The sky was pink and orange. He watched the street. Nobody bothered him now. Nobody sent letters. Nobody spied. He liked that. He liked the quiet. He liked the peace. His truck sat in the driveway. His mailbox stayed plain. His grass grew a little long. And that was okay. Nobody cared anymore. Mrs. Penny walked by. She had her little dog, Max. Max barked at a squirrel. Woof, woof. Mrs. Penny laughed. She waved at Jake. Morning, Sheriff, she called. Her voice was happy. Big. Jake waved back. Morning, he said. Simple. Easy. Mrs. Penny stopped. She looked at him. You're a hero, she said. You stopped Karen. Jake shook his head a little. Just doing my job, he said. But Mrs. Penny smiled. No, she said. You're special. She walked off. Max trotted beside her. Woof, woof. Mr. Carter came next. He was washing his car again. Splash, splash. Soap bubbles flew. He saw Jake. He waved too. Hey, Sheriff, he shouted. Good job. Jake nodded. Thanks, he said. Mr. Carter kept washing. He hummed a song. He was happy. Really happy. Everyone was. The street felt different now. Lighter. Nicer. Nobody yelled about rules. Nobody pointed fingers. Nobody wrote fines. It was gone. All gone. The kids rode by later. Their bikes zoomed. Zoom, zoom. They had big grins. Sheriff Jake, one yelled. You're cool, another shouted. They waved fast. Their hands flapped like birds. Jake waved back. Slow. Steady. He didn't say much. He didn't need to. The kids liked him. They didn't know him before. Not really. They thought he was just a guy. A quiet guy. But now. Now they knew. He was the sheriff. The real sheriff. And that was exciting. Back at Karen's house, things were different. Very different. Her windows stayed shut. Her curtains stayed closed. No clicking shoes. No loud voice. No clipboard. She didn't come out. Not much. Neighbors saw her once. Just once. She got her mail. Fast. Quiet. She wore a big hat. Sunglasses too. Like she didn't want to be seen. She didn't wave. She didn't smile. She just went back inside. Slam. The door shut. She was small now. Not big. Not loud. Small. People talked about her. A lot. At the store. At the park. On the street. Karen's gone quiet, Mr. Carter said one day. He was buying bread. Good, Mrs. Penny replied. She was buying milk. She was mean, a kid added. He was buying candy. They all nodded. They all agreed. Karen had pushed too hard. She'd hired fake cops. She'd bullied Jake. And now she paid for it. Not with money. Not with jail. But with quiet. With shame. With nothing. The deputies had taken the fake cops away. That was Saturday. By Monday, everyone knew more. The news spread fast. Like fire. The fake cops weren't just fakers. They were trouble. Big trouble. They'd done this before. In other places. They pretended to be police. They scared people. They took money. But not this time. This time, they picked the wrong guy. Jake. Sheriff Jake. The real deal. The deputies found out who they were. Their names were Tom and Bill. Tom was the tall one. Bill was the wide one. They weren't smart. Not at all. They'd made fake badges with glue and paper. Glue. Paper. Like a kid's craft. They'd bought uniforms online. Cheap ones. Thin ones. They thought they could trick people. They thought they could win. They thought wrong. The deputies locked them up. Clang. The jail doors shut. Tom and Bill didn't laugh now. They didn't growl. They sat in cells. Quiet. Caught. Karen didn't go to jail. Not yet. The deputies talked to her. A lot. They asked questions. Why'd you call them? One said. Who are they? Another asked. Karen cried. I didn't know, she said. Over and over. I didn't know. Her voice was shaking. Her hands were shaking. Everything was shaking. The deputies wrote it down. Scribble, scribble. They didn't cuff her. They didn't take her. But they warned her. Don't do it again, one said. You're lucky, the other added. Karen nodded. Fast. Scared. She was lucky. Really lucky. The HOA meeting had changed everything. Karen was out. Kicked out. The vote was big. Hands up everywhere. She's gone. Mr. Carter cheered that night. Finally. Mrs. Penny clapped. The new board was nice. Really nice. They met again a week later. No yelling. No pointing. Just talking. Let's make things fair, one said. No more silly rules, another added. Everyone agreed. The fines stopped. The spying stopped. The bullying stopped. Maple Grove was free. Jake didn't go to the meetings. He didn't need to. He stayed home. He mowed his lawn. Bzzz, bzzz. He watered his plants. Drip, drip. He waved at people. Hi, hi. He was the same Jake. Quiet Jake. Calm Jake. But now he was Sheriff Jake too. People knew. People cared. People respected him. A lot. One day, a kid came by. A little boy. He had a red bike. He stopped at Jake's house. Are you really a sheriff? He asked. His eyes were big. Round. Curious. Jake nodded. Yeah, he said. Simple. Easy. The boy grinned. Cool, he said. He rode off. Zoom. Jake watched him go. He smiled. A little smile. He liked that. He liked being cool to the kids. Mrs. Penny baked cookies. Oatmeal ones. She brought them over. Knock, knock. Jake opened the door. For you, she said. Thanks for being brave. Jake took the plate. Thanks, he said. He didn't say more. He didn't need to. Mrs. Penny smiled. You're welcome, Sheriff, she said. She walked away. Jake ate a cookie. Crunch, crunch. It was good. Really good. Mr. Carter fixed his fence. It was blue again. Blue. He painted it bright. He didn't care about rules now. Nobody did. He waved at Jake while he worked. No more Karen, he called. Jake waved back. Nope, he said. Mr. Carter laughed. Good riddance, he shouted. Jake nodded. Good riddance. That's right. Weeks went by. The neighborhood stayed happy. The sun rose. The sun set. The grass grew. The kids played. The dogs barked. Life was normal. But better. Way better. Jake kept his badge in his pocket. He didn't show it. He didn't need to. Everyone knew now. Everyone remembered. Everyone liked it. Karen's house stayed dark. Her yard got messy. Grass grew long. Weeds popped up. Nobody cared. Nobody knocked. Nobody called. She was alone. Quiet. Done. She didn't try to fight. She didn't try to boss. She just stayed inside. Day after day. Night after night. The neighborhood moved on. Without her. One afternoon, Jake sat on his porch. He had his coffee. Sip, sip. The street was busy. Kids laughed. A dog ran by. Woof. Mrs. Penny waved. Mr. Carter waved. Everyone waved. Jake waved back. Slow. Easy. He looked at his truck. Still in the driveway. He looked at his mailbox. Still plain. He looked at his grass. Still a little long. And he smiled. A real smile. Bigger this time. Justice was served. Big justice. Long justice. The fake cops were gone. Karen was out. The HOA was fair. The neighborhood was safe. Jake was respected. Peace was real. Maple Grove was happy. Really happy. And Jake? He was happy too. Quietly happy. The way he liked it. The story's done. Jake won. Karen lost. The fake cops got caught. Maple Grove is happy again. Peaceful again. But there's more to say. A lot more. This isn't just a story about a sheriff and a mean lady. No, it's bigger than that. It's about something deep. Something cool. Something you can think about for a long time. So, let's talk. Let's think. Let's wonder. Here's the kicker. The big idea. The one that makes you go, wow. Sometimes the person you think is powerless is the one holding all the cards. What does that mean? It means some people look small. They look weak. They look quiet. You think they don't matter. You think they can't do much. But then bam. They surprise you. They have power. Real power. Hidden power. And when they show it, everything changes. Jake was like that. Totally like that. He was quiet. Super quiet. He mowed his lawn. He waved hello. He didn't talk much. He didn't yell. He didn't fight. People saw him and thought, oh, just Jake. Karen saw him and thought, easy target. She thought he was nothing. She thought he was a guy she could boss around. She thought he'd bend to her rules. Her mailbox rules. Her grass rules. Her truck rules. She thought he was powerless. No strength. No fight. Just a quiet guy in a little house. But Jake? He wasn't powerless. Not even a little. He had a badge. A sheriff's badge. A real one. Shiny. Gold. Strong. He had a job. A big job. He was the law. The real law. Not fake like those wannabe cops Karen hired. Real. He had power. Quiet power. Hidden power. He didn't show it. He didn't brag. He didn't wave it around. He kept it in his pocket. Safe. Secret. Until he needed it. And when he did. Oh boy, it was big. Karen learned that the hard way. The really hard way. She pushed Jake. She yelled at him. She sent letters. She spied on him. She called fake cops. She thought she was big. She thought she was in charge. She thought she held all the cards. You know, like in a game. She thought she had the best ones. The winning ones. But she didn't. Jake did. He had the badge. He had the truth. He had the strength. And when he showed it, Karen's cards fell. All of them. Crash. Gone. She didn't see it coming. Not at all. She strutted around. Click, click with her shoes. She barked orders. She smirked. She thought Jake was small. She thought he'd lose. But he didn't lose. He won. Big time. And Karen? She fell. Hard. Her smirk was gone. Her power was gone. Her loud voice was gone. She learned something. Something tough. You can't judge people by how they look. You can't think quiet means weak. You can't think you're better. Because sometimes the quiet one is the strong one. Jake proved that. He proved it so good. He didn't need to shout to show his strength. Nope. Not once. He didn't yell at Karen. He didn't scream at the fake cops. He didn't run around waving his badge. He didn't need to. His strength wasn't loud. It wasn't big and showy. It was calm. It was steady. It was real. He stood there. Hands in his pockets. Voice soft. Eyes firm. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. Think about that. Really think. You don't need to be loud to be strong. You don't need to shout. You don't need to push. You don't need to brag. Strength can be quiet. Strength can be still. Strength can be a little spark in your eyes. Like Jake's spark. That tiny light. It was there all along. Small. Secret. Waiting. And when it came out, it was huge. It changed everything. It stopped Karen. It stopped the fakers. It saved the day. So, here's something for you. Next time you see someone quiet, maybe wonder what's their story? Yeah, think about it. Look around. At school. At home. On your street. Who's the quiet one? The one who doesn't talk much. The one who doesn't show off. The one who just sits there. Maybe they're like Jake. Maybe they've got something big inside. Something hidden. Something strong. You don't know. Not yet. But maybe. Just maybe. Have you ever met someone like that? Someone you thought was small? Someone you didn't notice? And then surprise. They did something cool. Something brave. Something you didn't expect. Maybe it was a kid at school. Quiet in class. Head down. But then they won a race. Or they helped someone. Or they stood up when it mattered. Maybe it was a friend. Shy. Soft. But strong when you needed them. Maybe it was you. Yeah, you. Think about it. Really think. Quiet doesn't mean weak. Small doesn't mean nothing. Sometimes the quiet ones hold the cards. Sometimes they've got the power. Sometimes they're the ones who win. Like Jake. He didn't look like a sheriff. Not at first. He looked like a guy. Just a guy. But he was more. Way more. And Karen? She missed it. She judged him wrong. She lost because of it. You might be surprised. That's the fun part. Life's full of surprises. People are full of surprises. The ones you least expect? They might be the strongest. The bravest. The best. So, don't judge fast. Don't look and say, oh, they're nothing. Look closer. Wonder more. Ask yourself what's their story? What's inside? What's hiding? You might find something amazing. Something big. Something like Jake. Let's talk about you now. Yeah, you. What do you think? Ever had a moment where you turned the tables? You know, like Jake did. Where someone thought you were small. Someone thought you couldn't do it. Someone underestimated you. That's a big word. It means they didn't think you were strong. They didn't think you'd win. But you did. You showed them. You flipped it around. You held the cards. Maybe it was at school. Someone said you couldn't run fast. But you did. You ran and won. Maybe it was at home. Someone thought you'd fail a chore. But you didn't. You did it great. Maybe it was with friends. Someone laughed at your idea. But you made it work. You proved them wrong. You were quiet. You were small. But you were strong. Like Jake. Quiet strength. Hidden power. Big win. Share it below. Yeah, Tell me. I want to know. What's your story? When did you surprise someone? When did you turn the tables? When did you show your strength? Write it in the comments. Make it fun. Make it short. Or make it long. Whatever you want. I'm curious. Really curious. Because everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a moment. And I bet yours is cool. Let's keep this vibe going. This feeling. This idea. Jake's story is done. But yours? It's still happening. You're still here. You're still strong. Maybe you're quiet. Maybe you're loud. Doesn't matter. You've got power. You've got cards. You've got a chance to surprise someone. To show them. To win. So, keep going. Keep wondering. Keep being you. Because you never know who's watching. You never know who's judging. And you never know when you'll flip the tables. Just like Jake. That's the lesson. The big one. The cool one. Strength isn't always loud. Power isn't always big. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's small. Sometimes it's a guy with a badge in his pocket. Sometimes it's you. So, next time you see someone quiet, don't laugh. Don't judge. Wonder. Think. Smile. Because they might be the one holding all the cards. And that's pretty awesome.